While the Blues' schedule came out, I still have a couple of lingering thoughts about the upcoming season.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen. Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, I'm going to talk to you about some off-season thoughts, some of which include a player that we haven't heard much of lately, but a player who I did predict will not be on the Blues to start the season. That's Justin Faulk. I'm going to talk about him. I'm going to continue to talk about the upcoming schedule. And then finally, I need you all to understand when it comes to two players on the Blues, Jordan Binnington and Jordan Kyrou, ironically, the Jordans, you need to stop with the rumors. It's not cute. It's not entertaining. If anything, it is annoying. So we're going to address all of that on today's episode of LOB. But I do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app and create an account and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. So let's talk a little bit about Justin Faulk. And why am I talking to you about Justin Faulk? Because I did say in a previous episode that I believed that Nick Leddy and Justin Faulk would both not be here to start off the season. However, while Nick Leddy is away and gone with the San Jose Sharks, and again, good for him, we do need to talk about a player that also was problematic, and that was Justin Faulk. I like him. However, I do feel like having him for a couple more seasons is going to be more problematic than good. He will become a UFA after the 2026-2027 season at age 35. So yes, as of now, he still has 2 more seasons with the Blues. Again, he makes 6.5 AAV per season. His total value in his contract was about $45 million, and it was a 7-year contract. So for me, I felt as if the contract was a little bit excessive. When he signed the contract, it was at 2021, and he was 27 years old. Personally, I would have not maybe given a 7-year contract, maybe a 5-year. I feel like 7 is just a little bit much. However, I do believe that it's not detrimental to the team, but it is taking about 8% of the cap space. And that's a conversation that we can have later. But the reason why I bring this up right now is this. It is July 17th. The season is approaching, okay? It's going to be here before we know it. And I don't think, in my opinion, that teams are asking about him, nor do I feel like he wants to leave. But here's my concern. With the Blues' defense, and we need to be realistic, last year, a lot went wrong, and you cannot say, well, there was times where, Broberg was out and, Leddy was out at times. That happens. Injuries happen. Obviously, you're not going to have Torrey Krug again, which in itself is very upsetting. So you need to look at the core defensemen. Parayko, you can trust Colton Parayko. You can. Now, I will make the argument that I thought Ryan Suter played fantastic. Do I think he was the best defenseman on the team? Actually, yeah, at times he was. But do I think Justin Faulk being back here for another season is going to be beneficial? I don't know. I like Tyler Tucker, I do. But I would rather the Blues push maybe some of these younger guys rather than a Justin Faulk. But again, it goes with who would even want him. And that is my question. I think it's really easy for all of us to say, well, we don't want this player and not really have any reasoning behind it. For me personally, it was due to a couple factors. One, the turnovers, that was an issue. Whenever you have a player that's not able to follow through with their passing or they're out of position, that's an issue. it's also the lack of defense during the last couple minutes of play. And that was something that Nick Leddy did a lot. You saw Nick Leddy really not posting up by the net. Well, that was also something that Justin Faulk did as well. So for me, there was a lot of factors as to why maybe I wasn't happy with him. But again, it's not all bad. I mean, there was times where he did play good hockey. And I feel like that is the one thing that we have to keep in mind as a whole when we discuss these players, that while, yes, there is bad, there is still good. And you can still like a player. A player can still be likable, and you can still want to maybe move on from them. But for the Blues, 8% of the cap, it's not going to kill them. Now, do I think that, again, other teams might be interested? And I said I don't think they will be calling. I think that if you put him in a package, then yes, but I don't think on his own. The reason for San Jose acquiring Nick Leddy and why I thought that was smart was because the Sharks are a really young team, like a really young and soon to be scary team. Let's say it for how it is. If there's one team in the NHL that I have concerns about in the next couple of years, it's the San Jose Sharks, because I think they're going to be one of the most elite teams in the NHL. I do. A lot of the prospects that they have are guys that I wanted for the Blues. And again, you can say what you want about them. We don't have to like their fan base. I think I have half of them blocked on Twitter because of them coming at me when I make hand pass jokes. But overall, they're going to be a dominant team. And that, to me, scares me completely. In last year's draft, obviously, I know they took Celebrini, but a player that I wanted for St. Louis, a player that I thought would benefit the Blues completely, was Sam Dickinson. And I'm going to be transparent with you. When San Jose took Sam Dickinson at 11th overall, a part of me felt pain in my stomach. I watched him play with the London Knights, and I had a lot of excitement about him. Now, did I think he was going to fall back to 16? No. But did I think there was a possibility the Blues could trade up? Absolutely, I did. He was one of those players that I had my eye on. And it's really infuriating, actually, when you have your eye on a certain player and you watch them play, whether it's in the OHL, WHL, collegiately, wherever you watch them, the KHL, and a team that you dislike drafts them. That is an awful feeling. But again, because I watched a lot of Sam Dickinson and I watched him play a lot, obviously I know that he's going to be a really good player. And again, you have to think back to the 2023 draft with Will Smith. Like, there are so many good players that the Sharks have drafted within like the last couple of years that you have to be a little bit concerned about what this team is going to do. But again, you could say the same thing about the St. Louis Blues, right? You could say the same thing, that the Blues have drafted some really good players. And why is that? It's because I want to tell you why I think the Blues prospects are actually pretty good. I mean, this year, I know we only had 3 draft picks, but Justin Carbonneau, a player that I was able to speak to after he was drafted on draft night, again, he is all about the blue note. And what do I mean by that? No, it's not about the sweater. It's about how he plays. He plays a tough, aggressive game. He's a really good two-way forward, which is something that's really important, because in all total transparency and honesty, you need a player like Carbonneau that's able to pick up his game defensively a little bit and draw back when needed. And that is something that we don't always see with all of the forwards that we have right now. So I am really excited about him. Last year, we drafted defenseman Adam Juracek. And again, I had the privilege of speaking with Adam Juracek right after he was drafted. It was his birthday, his 18th birthday, a defenseman. He had some knee stuff going on, so that's why he kind of fell back a little bit in the draft at 16. And again, there was other players in that draft that I liked. I actually had my eye on Lucas Fisher, who is another defenseman who the Blues selected at 56. And I kind of laugh a little bit. But for me personally, I take the draft as basically like a gamble, right? It was ironic. It was in Vegas last year, but it was a gamble where you don't know where players are going to end up. And it's kind of like a matching game. You watch this one prospect and you think, could they fit in with this organization? Well, for me, in the mock draft, I did have Adam Juracek going at 16. And I was really proud of myself. This year, I did not have any of the correct players at all for the Blues, which is fine. It happens. I was able to read up on them. So that's why when those said players end up making it onto their respective team and they're ending up being in the show, right? I'm going to know so much about them because of the studying that I did. But that's what you do. You study these prospects. So going back to the Blues, 2023, oh, that was so exciting. That was Dvorsky, Otto Stenberg, Theo Lindstein, Quentin Burns. Like there were so many great guys in that draft, right? Jakob Stansel, Paul Fisher. Like there were so many guys in that draft class. Then you go to 2020-22. Jimmy Snuggerud, boom. Like, this is what I'm saying. Oh, I'm sad. 2021, that's when the Blues drafted Zachary Bolduc. I'm sad about that still, and that's going to sting. 2020 was Jake Neighbors. Oh, Leo Louf, Tanner Dickinson, Matthew Kessel. That was a good, Will Cranley. That was a good draft class, actually, 2020. 2019 was Nikita Alexandrov, Colton Ellis. That was a good one. 2018. Wow, what an interesting draft that was. Now we're looking back at it. But 45, I forgot how high Perunovich actually ended up going in that draft class. Joel Hofer was 107. Tyler Tucker was 200. 2017, obviously, that is the Robert Thomas draft. He fell to 20, which is so crazy to think about. RT went to 20. I actually have, and this might be like a really like niche kind of thing, I have a fixation on the 2017 draft. I don't know why, but whenever I think of like one of the better draft classes, my mind goes there. Also, Alexei Turchenko, he was 2017. He was 113th overall. Then we go, wow, I forgot Tage Thompson, 2016. Woo! He was 26 overall. Jordan Kyrou, 35th overall. Trying to see if there's any names that. Vince Dunn, 2015. Oh, Vince Dunn. Oh, that was a really good one. Wow, I get so sad. I'm looking at all these names. I'm like going down and down. Oh, Jaden Schwartz, 2010. Oh, Alex Petrangelo. And that breaks my heart that he's not going to be playing hockey again, most likely. And that was also Jake Allen, too. He was drafted then as well in 2008, which is so insane. Like, I keep on saying that, but it's like the reality. Ian Cole, 2007. Eric Johnson. Oh, that's when he went first overall, EJ. And it's funny, when Eric Johnson was with Philadelphia, I actually spoke with him about his time in St. Louis. And this was like right before he got dealt back to the Avalanche. And man, what a great guy. Like one of my favorite players I think I've ever talked to. TJ, 2005. I keep on forgetting that he actually was later 24th overall. Ryan Reeves, 156. Wow. You know what's so crazy to me when I'm reading this? I know I'm a little bit off topic right now, but I can't believe how late some of these guys went. Like, that to me will always blow my mind. I'm going to talk really fast about money, Monarch Money, and then I'll get back to this. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. One thing that I love so much about Monarch Money is that everything is in one place, and I don't need to go to a million different screens just to see my money. I can manage it all super easily, and for me, that is convenient, so I do enjoy it a lot. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. And I don't know why I'm enjoying this conversation so much. I feel like I'm just going down like memory lane right now. But no, it's so crazy when you look at guys that obviously have been nothing but successful in the league. And it's like, oh, yeah, we drafted them here, there, and there. It's so much fun to look at. I'm trying to think if there's any other players off the top of my head as I'm just kind of like gauging this. You know what's so crazy to me? And again, like I know off topic, but the Blues really have lucked out with some of their later draft picks. Like they really didn't draft like number 1 or 2 a lot. So for me, I kind of crack up a little bit because I'm like, wow, like they actually found like really good, solid talent. Like and it was later in the draft. Like that to me, like, oh, remember Sammy Blais? I'm not saying that Sammy Blais was like the most talented player. I'm just saying like that was a player that they drafted later in the draft. Hi, I'm Haley, and you're watching Locked On Blues. But the point is, as I was just kind of going down memory lane, it's that there's teams like going back to what I was saying, like San Jose that would benefit from having a veteran defenseman like Nicoletti. So maybe a team will benefit from having a player like a Justin Faulk. Somebody made a comment because I did say that I wasn't too afraid of the Anaheim Ducks, and I'm not at this moment. Now, do I think in a couple of seasons they will be scary? Absolutely. They did lose Trevor Zegras, so that does kind of lose a level of talent that made them a little bit more intimidating to play. However, that was another team that had a lot of solid draft picks. So overall, yes, my long rant about the draft. The draft does matter. These players do matter, but the teams that have a lot of younger guys, they could be more attracted to having some more veteran presences on their organization. So let's talk about the schedule because this is something that I wrote about. I actually do writing for the Blues for Hockey Hot Stove. I know, baby. Not just the podcasting, but the writing. Yes, I do it all now. I love the Blues. Anyways, there's a couple of games that have me excited, right? And the Blues, most importantly, will be opening up their season, as I stated, against the Minnesota Wild on October 9th. Now, this is a huge game and a huge opportunity for St. Louis to put their season on the right path. However, this is where I get a little bit apprehensive and nervous. It's October 11th, Calgary Flames, 3 o'clock. October 13th, Vancouver Canucks, 6:30. That makes me nervous. Now, why is that? It's because of the Calgary Flames and how close they were to getting that second wildcard spot last season. It was neck and neck. The Blues ended up getting it, but at the end of the day, that's a team that's going to have a lot of juice and momentum, and you know they're going to be coming in hungry, especially because it's St. Louis. And the Canucks, I personally think the Blues are a better team than the Canucks. But when we get closer, I'll break down as to why I believe that player versus player. But again, a team that I have a lot of respect for, a team that is going to put up a tough game. October 15th, the Blues will be home, by the way, against the Blackhawks. First time playing the Blackhawks this season, 8:30 puck drop. And I know we do well against the Blackhawks recently, especially. But that is still a team that's your biggest rival, right? So that is the team that I do expect to showcase their younger talent. And, you know, today is Connor Bedard's birthday. He's only 20 years old. And it puts it into perspective how young Chicago is. So for me, those 4 games, the Wild, the Flames, the Canucks, and the Blackhawks, those are 4 games where you realistically want to take 3 out of 4. You want to start your season off on the right note. Now, again, the Blues will have 7 out of 11 October games at home. So for me, positive. That is a huge positive to have that many home games. The Blues will have 13 back-to-back games this season. It's the same amount they had last season. And again, when we talk about goalies, that's a great opportunity maybe for Joel Hofer to play a little bit more in net to start at least. So some notable games that I have is November 3rd versus Edmonton. That's at 7:30. I feel like we have now like beef with the Oilers. So for me, that's a game that's worth watching. December 20th at Florida, 5 o'clock puck drop. Anytime you're taking on the defending Cup champs, going to be a game you want to tune in for. December 31st at Colorado, 8 o'clock. Again, another team in the Central. And this is like a New Year's Eve game, but it's funny. Last New Year's Eve, we were playing in the Winter Classic. And I believe on January 2nd, I don't have this in as a notable game, we're playing the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'm pretty sure we played the Vegas Golden Knights January 2nd this last season. I don't know why I remember that, actually. Why do I remember that? Wait, I need to Google this now because I swear last season, St. Louis Blues, Vegas Golden Knights, 2024, 2020, 25. Let's go see. They did not play on January 2nd. Who did they play on January 2nd? St. Louis Blues. I'm just going to Google the date. January 2nd, 2025. Yeah, oh, no. What? Well, I don't know what I'm thinking. Whatever. Either way, VGK on, I don't know why I thought that. Anyways, January 18th at Edmonton, again, a game that I feel like it's worth watching. January 20th at Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets. Again, a game that I feel like is very important for the Blues. You see, I don't want to have beef with the Jets, but I love the competitiveness between the two teams. Last time you were in Winnipeg, you got eliminated. So again, game worth watching. February 4th at Dallas. Needless to say, Blues and Stars always put on a good show. February 26th versus the Kraken. March 18th at Calgary. March 30th at San Jose. That's going to be an important game. And then April 16th, final game of the season, the Mammoth. Now, we do have the Olympics this year, so we're going to have a break from the 5th of February to the 25th of February. So that will be exciting. Will Jordan take the next step this season? That's a question. How will Robert Thomas continue to improve? What can Jake Neighbors and Dvorsky do? And of course, who steps up with Parayko and maybe a shifting role? So we have a lot that we need to look forward to when it comes to the Blues. But before I do that, let me talk to you really fast about my friends over at Gametime. We've all been there, logging on early, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show that you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not about dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with your killer last-minute deals. Personally, I am tired of scrolling on my phone looking for the deals, but luckily with Gametime, it is all in one convenient location. So take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. When it comes to rumors, there is two names that get thrown around a lot. Jordan Kyrou and Jordan Binnington. It's the two Jordans on our team. I saw something on social media from somebody that covers another team in the NHL talking about a Jordan Kyrou trade. And I thought to myself, one, have you not watched any of the Locked On Blues episodes where I talk about this, which is fine? And two, you do realize that Jordan Kyrou has a no trade clause. Now, one thing about rumors is this. You can start a rumor. Anybody can start a rumor. I can start a rumor. You can start a rumor. But people that have ethics don't do that. Number one. Number two, you do your research. If you want to make up a rumor and start some fake scenario, at least have it be accurate. At least say, would Jordan Kyrou be willing to waive his no trade clause to join blank team? I don't need the narrative of, I think the Blues are looking to trade Kyrou and Doug Armstrong is willing to make this move. First off, Doug says that he does not plan on making any more moves. Number one, when I talked about Justin Faulk, did I say Doug is actively looking? No, I did not. I said I think that he would be beneficial on a younger team. That is not making up a rumor. That is giving an opinion. That is a lot different than tweeting out a false narrative. And I see it with Binnington too. I don't think people honestly do their research, and they do this thing that they like to call rage bait or clickbait or whatever bait, where they want you, the viewer, the reader, anybody, to think that what they're saying is accurate when it is not. It is the least from accurate. So I quoted this person and I said, this is not true. This is not factual. There is no, by any means, grounds that support your claim. Jordan Kyrou is a name to throw around because it gets clicks, okay? If you're not a Blues fan, it gets clicks. When you think of like drama, you, for whatever reason, think of Kyrou. I think of Kyrou as a 70-point player, as a 30-plus goal scorer a season, as a hard worker, and as an elite forward on the Blues. I don't see him as drama. I don't see him as clickbait. I don't see him as any of that. I think that outsiders who want to talk about the Blues only want to talk about the drama. They don't want to acknowledge the tremendous talent on this team. And the Blues have a lot of talent. So the next time you want to throw around a trade, at least make it a little bit more accurate in your statement and say, hey, I think that my team would benefit from having Jordan Kyrou because of this, that, and that. Not, I'm hearing that Doug's going to want to trade Jordan Kyrou here. That's not accurate. You're not an insider. You are making up something, and then people believe it, and that's how rumors begin. So do better on that one. All right, I will talk to you all tomorrow, and like always, let's go Blues.